Hello, all you Link to the Past Randomizer fans out there, and welcome to this SpeedGaming presentation of the Link to the Past Randomizer League. We have an Invitational League matchup for you this afternoon between Usedbow, the last remaining undefeated team in League, now playing in Week 4, featuring the runner Telethar, versus JKLOL, with their 3 wins on the season at this point, good for 9 points, represented by Kazden. I am MindDM, and I'm joined in the booth and then tracking in the booth by Jesse Radical Sniper 99, member number 2 of JKLOL, and tracking Leoria of Light, the LOL portion. So, once again, kind of like the Joy of Rando game from the other day, I am surrounded by one team, and I'll try to kind of push the commentary in the other direction, since you can count on Jesse to give Kaze all of the garbage he deserves. Jesse, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Yeah, don't worry. I won't pull punches to my own team ever. Kazan deservedly so. You know, I'll tease him plenty. But yeah, it should be a good matchup. Very easy start, of course, starting at Link's house, and we get the just absolutely terrible item of a mushroom.
Quality mushroom that you can't possibly turn in right now. We're missing several things to make that happen. And this is in Flukies, incidentally. It's inverted. Key Sanity 7-7 with a starting activated flute. And you saw Kazden use that starting activated flute and head directly for the Mire Shed.
Yep. Definitely a more traditional play. Telethar a little bit less so with the Stumpy play, but not bad. But there's an early mirror. Wow.
Fancy early mirror. You're going to want a little cash money eventually. If you can pull a 20 out of somewhere, you can go play the archery game. One of the nice things about Inverted is all you have to do is get 20 rupees, and then you can print as much cash as your heart desires.
Yeah, plenty. There's some money in Thieves Town. We don't see it become a pickup too frequently. There's like 4 or 5 rupee drops in there. So we'll see if anybody does play for that.
I've looked at the map of Thieves Town once or twice, and I've seen where those are, but it's something that never really entered my
It doesn't
brain.
stick.
No, it really doesn't stick. It's important so rarely, and see, that's why. It's important so rarely that who would memorize where the 4 pots are, because I think there's one in each quadrant, isn't there?
Yeah, there's like, I want to say there's like top rights and bottom rights, like top right of this screen, or bottom right of this screen, I think. Might be one.
I would just be guessing if I said yay or nay to that. But we did get an early map to Tower of Hera. Hera a little bit more difficult than normal to get to in Inverted. You have to have the hammer, and you need a way to get over onto the eastern side of Light Mountain first. So you need a hook shot, or you need the hammer and the mitts at least to get onto. Yeah, it's a mess. Hera's really a mess in this mode. One of many things.
I will point out, really heads up from Telethar there, going after he knows a bomb spot in that front of Thieves Town, which, you know, just a really heads up play. Kazan's gonna have to be a little careful here, but gets that bomb drop, so no big loss, and he's gonna check the other one, and gets both for the 50-50s. But we also get bombed inside a brewery.
Yeah, sometimes 50-50, sometimes you're walking in and out of brewery looking for where are my next 2 bombs going to come from so that I can check Hype Cave.
Yeah. So Case is going to work down to Arrow.
Definitely saw that happen in an open league match earlier where the 50-50s there beneath the brewery were just not cooperating.
Hype Cave giving us our glove, another heart container, and the lamp. Okay. Definitely some cool ways to route up the mountain a little bit now. You know, we could head up, rescue, or not even rescue Old Man. You head up the mountain here. Yep, and that's what Telethar is going to do. He's going to head up Death Mountain, do a swap into Light World, he'll check out Spec Rock, and then after checking out Spec Rock, he can jump down, mirror at the old man rescue spot, and then rescue old man, and he doesn't have to walk all the way up the stairs with old man. But yes, the Battle of the Darklings today.
I love the bunny sprite for the sprite, it's so good.
Yeah, and Talithar getting that spot set up right where the old man will be rescued, so no extra walking. Really safe and really quick. It's a nice little time save. Now, we of course do have Catfish, we got Pyramid Ledge, so we'll see where these guys want to go after this.
There has been a lot of dodging of Catfish in this, and it's becoming difficult for me to understand. Once you have a glove, you have the starting activated flute in your inventory, you can just flute to 2 and check Catfish really quick.
Well, and I think the big thing for it this week is when people have gotten their glove. One of the common things I've noticed is if glove is your last piece of light world access, then people are skipping it. And are just going with that as kind of like, I'm going to get into light world, I'll worry about Catfish later. And I think there's a lot of common sense to it, because you can actually, like, you could mirror into Catfish from Zora as well. So there's like reasons that work for it. It's just not, you know, we've seen it not pay off this week. And hey, that's a cane of Samaria already.
Yeah, just go fish out a red cane, that's fine.
And honestly, that's a really nice find just for getting now even the vanilla big key chest of Skull Woods. Like, this is great. A little bit more money, so we get our money back. There is Telithar's shield out of Sea House.
Convenient for blocking moblin spears and the like.
Is going to have to be a little careful here. Telithar just a little bit safer on that play into the woods area. And we'll probably see a play for the middle here. I thought maybe Kaze would take the death. Yeah. Kaze and sneaking by, but immediately taking damage again. So yeah, Telithar not stealing the key here makes a lot of sense. We can just get through this, and yeah, that's a hammer.
Another one of those light world access pieces, looking for a pearl now.
Yeah, I mean, the hammer gives us a couple of extra checks. We can work with something like we're going to see the front of Skull here. Kazen recognized the fact that there was an enemy in that tunnel and was not very visible. More bombs, never going to pass those up this early. That's a small key to pod, which I think really, like, that's where I would be headed then. I don't like the mountain yet. You got like 2 checks in Super Bunny. That's kind of okay, but not tons to work with. So I think a pod play here makes a lot of sense. I will say Telithar's money's still not shored up at all. I don't know if he's going to head to Aero Game. He's got enough for chess game. I'm going to hope for, well, he's going to get bailed out a little bit with the 50 here.
Not exactly going to solve the money problems, but at least it doesn't put him in a worse spot.
Yeah. And we're going to see Pyramid Ledge uncased inside, so pretty heads up. You know, let me see if I can knock out another check before making commitment to either Mountain or Pod. And yeah, I have to assume Telfar's going to play at least one round of archery here. Possibly two, looking to make sure he'll also have money for Palace of Darkness coming up. Oh, and we're getting the 99s. Nice.
Nicely done.
And there is our Fire Rod.
Again, something that gives us one additional check.
Yeah, not exactly a check we want to make right now.
It's inconvenient, it's out of the way, you can make it a whole lot better later by getting to it from the light world, potentially, with a check of a location that Kasten doesn't believe exists.
He'll check it if it comes up. But yeah, not exactly on his list. So we got our first bit of divergence here. This is definitely a philosophical difference between the two runners. Telfar going after Super Bunny, and Kazen gonna hit up Pod. I personally think I'm a Pod player here, and the full magic drop's nice as well. Like that Pod small kind of feels really strong here. But Telfar also gonna get that first two checks of Aga Tower actually. So 4 in logic checks for Telethar, 3 in logic for Kazen. Nice Swamp Small.
Swamp Small, okay, sure. That's
Half magic for Telethar, cool. Wonder if Telethar will take a Death Warp here, but that's our Pearl, so... Never mind, we're not even going to see right side of the mountain.
Why go play Dances with Lionels when you can go to the Light World and do Light World things for the next 20 minutes?
Yep. You know, I was going to say, like, I felt like a lot of the asyncs for this mode in the, for League had a lot of Mitz Axis Dark or Light World seeds. And then this week, like, I've been noticing more and more Hammer Glove.
Yeah,
I think we even had an Agaseed today.
I've seen a handful of Agaseeds, but I do think you're right. I've seen mostly that preponderance of Hammer Glove.
So we'll see how these Light World routes shape out. Telthar coming up into... Not going to hit up Skullwoods now. And we get a bottle out of Pod, so not a huge... Oh, there's the book. Funny.
I would worry about weather damage finding a book there.
I mean, there's usually mushrooms there, so I get it. That's our second CT small, though. Luckily, with that mirror, we've got some options. Like, we can check Lumberjack as well as check out what Bumper Ledge is. So we'll get some knowledge. Now, the one advantage for Kazen here is the fact that he has that Fire Rod and can also, you know, take down these Fallen Chain Guards a little bit easier. Now, I mention it, but doesn't mean he's going to use it. That's a small key on bumper, though.
Could be important, could be mostly useless. Tough to tell. I'll have Kayston pick up the Moon Pearl here in just a second and see what he wants to do.
He is going to mirror. Is he going to try to sneak some Lionels? On a heart and a half, buddy? Or are you going to, like...
Spicy health level to do this, but okay. He tried to decide against it.
That was a decision.
Not the kind of time that I would want to be giving away to a runner of Telethar's caliber.
Yeah, this is an interesting race. You know, as you said at the start, this is, you know, Usedbow is our last undefeated team in both leagues. Only team to maintain a 6-0 record through the first 2 weeks of the season. And, you know, we get into week 4, the midpoint, and this is a very strong start and on a very good team. Like, let's be honest, I Usedbow, 3 great runners in this community, and it's going to be a hard sell to beat them in anything. Yeah, we did see that bow for Telethar off of Graveyard Ledge. We'll see how Telethar wants to continue to route Light World, if this is going to be CAC or if he heads over to the Mushroom turn-in. No, this is CAC, okay.
Mushroom is just a terrible check in inverted, and nobody wants to do it.
Although this is routing back up. He got the cape, so he wants the small key. Never mind, I know what he's doing.
Speaking of small keys, there's another pod small for Kayston.
Yeah, very early, like a lot of nice items. The book is always a required item for this mode. And we do know that Desert Palace is one of our 5/6 crystals. That's a Desert Small off the bumper ledge. So we're finding a lot of very nice things. You know, Swamp Small is available, Desert Small is available, book, Fire Rods. So a bow's not even that far away. Like, this is really nice for an early seed.
Which makes you begin to wonder, where's the catch?
Yeah, what's the catch tonight?
Or is there one? Every once in a while, this just rolls jet seeds.
Yeah. And I mean, just, you know, watching this race, like, what I can say is, you know, this is what we'd expect from a runner such as Telethar. The crisp movement, he is known for being what I would say is meticulous in his plotting of routes. Like, it's hard to deny how well he knows these rooms and these routes throughout each of them. Like, he's got a lot of ideas about how he's going to handle most things. Small Key and Zelda sell to Meyer.
And the true vanilla blue boomerang, by the way.
Yeah. And there's our first sword off of the Bottle Merchant. 100 rupees well spent today.
That sounds like it has some value.
I'd buy that for $100. Just doesn't have the same rating as I'd buy that for $1, does it?
It really doesn't.
Nope. Kaizen finished up with the front of Hyrule Castle. I think really the big thing was our pod small. Meyer small's okay, but not massive. The $300 could prove valuable. But Telethar getting close to the money as well for Zora coming up, so we'll see. Kaizen working his way towards North Light World, so he's going to make this loop of Castle to North Light World, then into Lost Woods. So he has a slightly better shot of maybe checking out the ped. Maybe? I don't know. It's hard to say with Kaizen sometimes. That's our second sword.
Yeah, by the same token, the swords are not between here and there on the path, so Moth not going to be, at least for the moment, in question.
We have not done hammer pegs yet. I assume Telethar will hit this on his loop. So he's rescuing Jeremiah. He'll come into here to hit the Smith turn-in, probably pick up purple chest and pegs as he works his way down toward the dam. And really with that book in Desert Small, I wouldn't be shocked if he heads to Desert. Telethar working his way through that magic bar. As he gets the Desert Big, yeah, we're going to Desert Palace, my idea.
In fairly short order, I would expect.
Yeah, and we are going to get a fake powder here from Telethar. That's a lot of magic to burn through. Real heads up setting it up as early as he did. Fake powder giving us just $20.
As Kayston raids the poor box for 300 more rupees.
Now, as this route works out a little better for Kaysen, as he's going to head up towards Bumper Ledge here, so he'll get that info and be able to actually pull Bumper without having to route back to it. Meanwhile, Hammer, Pegs, and Purple Chest pick up for Telethar. Case, that's not that's not Bumper Cave, buddy.
Wait, why is this old man rescue?
Did we see race game from Telethar? Did he scout it, I guess?
He scouted it.
Okay. I guess it was nothing then.
What it was, but he took a look.
Oh, 10 bombs. Okay. And nice little magics there for Telethar off of the Bush Crab. Really welcome after spending all that magic just to check the Magic Bat. We're going to get a look at Bombo's tablet here from Telethar as he works his way into Desert Palace. That's the Hyrule Castle small key.
Okay, that's a place
for
that.
And yeah, to Kaysden, the pet is dead. The pet just doesn't exist for the man. Who are we kidding? Now, on the fun side here, we might get to see some bow usage on Usedbow side.
Well, that would be entirely unnatural and
I know,
completely
right?
in keeping with their name.
I will say, like, my DM, I'm happy to have you along with me today. I will point out, you know, I was supposed to have Clear Mouse alongside for this one today, and I know she'd be really happy to see a potential Bow Landmo coming up.
Well, it's a fun fight for values of fun that involve resetting your run when you're playing NMG.
What? Never. Kaizen, you have a mirror.
We do have Telethar in Desert Palace now, going to use that small key and just route right to left.
Yeah, we'll probably... I think he's setting up to mirror here after this room. I think that's slightly quicker.
Probably.
That's a big key to Turtle Rock. Nice find. Not really as happy probably to see that shovel. Another 3 hundo. That's what, our third 3 hundo in this seed?
I believe so. And shovel is one of those checks that strangely doesn't really get a lot better or worse just because it's inverted.
I mean, the hard part is we've kind of already seen the inverted stuff to it. Or everything near it. So it's a little harder to route in. We're going to get to see this bottle check from Kaizen, though, with Sick Kid. Just a small key, but it's to Thieves Town. Okay. That shouldn't be a problem. But, if Telethar pulls a Thieves Big and doesn't check Sick Kid anytime soon, it could be a little bit of a problem. A minor worry on his side. Isn't getting to see that second sword. Gonna blind play race game. As we're coming up on our first boss here on Telethar's side with Landmolus. I was gonna say, Kaizen, probably would have been worth it for him to pick up those bombs since he's at 3.
Went
But
all that
nope.
way, could have gotten the refill of 7, chose not to.
Good start to hit the Landmo fight here. 1 Landmo down. I think he's... Okay, he's put a little damage down the third. There's the first one dead, as well as the second. And good cleanup. So what, was that a 3 cycle?
3 cycle.
Nice. Good clean fight.
Unfortunately, Kaizen is in a position where he's not going to give us the same kind of fight when he gets to the Landmolus.
Yeah, not a chance. Kaizen will definitely just fire out. The efficiency play there. But there is his Desert Big Key, so I would expect him to make the same moves after this into Desert Palace. And Telethar is going to get the money needed for Zora here. He's definitely hoping for some more money. Still hasn't paid the 110 for Pod. So that's a little bit out of the way at the moment. I will say, in terms of our 5-6 crystals, Pod and Desert again. So Desert's logical. Pod's not totally far off. One of the Pod smalls is locked behind that Hyrule Castle small on Bombo's tablet. So we're starting to get closer to Pod as well. So overall, Telethar looking at, the 500 spent for Zora, but we could be spending another 200 rupees very shortly at this rate. Moorworm's playing some good dodge here of those bow shots from Telethar, but nicely cleaned up. The mini Moorworms are part of the special pack today. We get another pod small there. Skull small, okay.
We're approaching logic in a couple of places.
Yeah. Like, boots should show up soon enough to get that second sword, so... Although I will say, I think we're about to exit logic pretty hard again. Like, I think we're getting some fake flipper action shortly. I will say a big key to either Eastern or Pod would be really appreciated given our current equipment and keys. Probably more so on Kazan's side, but Telethar would not be unhappy with a Eastern Big even. Pod Big would be good too.
Swim by Hylia Island, which has a convenient ladder attached to it. Just a map up there, though.
Yeah, and luckily, if we did see either of them go for that Lake Hylia play, like, it wouldn't be terribly difficult to work around and get back in the water, splash delete back in. One of those things, you know, if you see something really nice there, like, if we didn't have the ability to splash delete, you'd be like, do I want to do this instead? And we get the Ether Medallion, which is apparently our Meyer Medallion.
Out of logic access to the front of Myers so that you can stare longingly over a gap that you can only cross with boots or a hookshot.
You make it sound like it's a bad thing.
That depends on how badly you want to get into Meyer and start clearing it out.
I mean, we've got a small key, we've got a fire rod on Kaze's side. It's sounding tempting. Okay, waterfall for Telethar. There's our next set of new info. More money. And a small key to Skull, so okay. Moth is locked behind flippers. I guess Kazan did not scout that ledge, so unfortunately some extra time used to check out there. But here we go with Zora check. There's the save and quit from Telethar out of this area. We'll see where he heads next. Pod could be Pod Eastern, maybe. Other possibility is, of course, there's a nice 8-bomb for Kaze. Okay, we're going to head into the Light World 4 spot here. Could be a bomb shop check discussion and then Hyrule Castle, or bomb shop to Saha Eastern. We'll see which one he goes with. The mushroom.
Yeah,
okay.
Mushroom turn in. Okay.
Yeah. Isn't able to do that Lambda flight in 2 cycles, so a little bit of save time there over Telethar. Mushroom turn-in is a compass. Telethar going to go back over that whirlpool, head back over. I'm going to guess this is Pyramid or Bomb Shop and Pyramid Hyrule Castle. Although I am totally wrong. This is Shovel. Okay. Yep.
With nothing else here really left to pair it with, now is the time.
Yep. Yeah, there really is not a good check here. Or there's not a check here even. It's not even just a good check. There's just not a check. And this will be Hyrule Castle. Okay. I was like, I know it's coming. Like, I would be shocked if Telethar's not making his way here. So we're coming to a point realistically where the two of them will pretty much have done most of the same things. Kays will have done that bit of pod, while Telethar will have Old Man Rescue and Spec Rock. But roughly speaking, we're pretty much drawing even on some of these checks. We'll see if Kaysden does go for the fake flipper, though. I think he's a little less interested in doing a fake flipper out of Ice Rod Cave, personally.
I remember a time when that was perhaps the most common play in Rando, and
yeah,
it's certainly fallen out of favor.
Telethar a little off on that mirror spot. Really heads up though, like there's a, oh man, a little too high up now. So like there's a tendency, like when you kind of get into those mirror bonk spots or pseudo mirror bonk spots, that you start to like fidget. If he fidgeted, I think he could have knocked himself out of his portal there and not gotten back into Light World, and that could have been a really a rough loss of time for him. And yeah, Kays is saving and quitting out of Ice Rod. Hard to say, saves. It's not easy to, like, sometimes it'll allow you, sometimes it's a little less forgiving, so this time it worked out for him by not moving, so all good. Kaysden heading towards, I guess this is going to be the Moth. Thought maybe we might get a Light World trek here, but it's fine.
That he has anything else really interesting up here. It's back of Skull Woods.
I mean, I think the next best play for either runner is likely to be Pod. Like, Pod's probably going to have a hook shot or mitts or a flipper. Like, I think with our half magic Samaria Fire Rod combo, like, I would see an Out of Logic Ice being pretty good about this time. I think, not worrying about the ice big chest isn't terrible. Obviously, we still don't know if it's a crystal or a pendant, but who cares? So yeah, depending on that, like, the flippers could be a problem. Or like wherever those flipper checks come, because that Ether Medallion's definitely going to be a little harder for Kaysden to get into. Like, that's definitely a minor concern at this point. We don't know if Myra's a crystal or a pendant, so I can't gauge for sure yet. Like, if that's a pendant and pendant Myra is completely worthless, great for Kaysden. But if it's required or it's a crystal, Telethar in a little better situation already there. We do have 2 Skull Smalls, though, so we can skip that second Gibdo key. Moth fight starting off with plenty of Fire Rod shots. Moth cooperating as well to take damage from the Fire Rod. Why can't the Moth be that nice to everybody?
That was entirely unnatural. Kasten bribed that Moth.
Yeah, that's a bribable Moth. I disagree, game. Why were you so nice to him? And this is going to be Super Bunny or Spike Cave for Telethar. So here's the real divergence. Kay's heading to Pod Eastern, so he's going to turn that green pendant and go into at least Pod, potentially Eastern after that. So we're going to get to see a little bit of some divergence here. Somebody's going to find progression soon, I have to imagine. Unfortunately, it looks like we've lost Telethar for a moment. Hopefully, stream catches back up. Hey, that's Red Mail.
Red Mail, hurrah. Return to sender.
Okay, according to our tracker at Leoria, he went offline. So, hopefully
just a brief internet hiccup and we'll have him right back.
That's all you can, it happens to all of us, so there he is. It looks like he did Spike Cave. Because he has no magic. He's got a hook shot, though. That is a hook in Spike Cave. Oh, boy. Very nice find out of hook shot. Or, sorry, out of Spike Cave. Small key to GT there in the vanilla big key chest of Pod. Not a huge deal. Telthar's definitely got the wealth of stuff to check, though. There's plenty on this side of the mountain, as well as being able to beat Tower of Hera. Big keys to Pod or Eastern would also really speed up his efficiency here. That is a TR small. A big key to Skull. Okay. I anticipate we'll be seeing a Skull play from Telethar soon. And just some money, so nothing great in Paradox, surprisingly, today.
Strangely, you open up 7 boxes and you think, I'm going to get something, and you got a big key to be named later.
Nice Titansmiths. Okay. So hookshot is our access to this side of the mountain. So Spike Cave is super duper important. Yeah, and it could, in terms of Telethar's track or timer, probably just an issue with like the stream going down, losing that. So it's not a big deal. We can live without it. Nice bottle for Telethar, though, so he should be able to get that Thieves Small. And there's the Flippers out of Pod. So with that knowledge of our hookshot as well, there's Swamp Palace. And Kaze is going to go into Eastern, it looks like. And we'll see how Telethar decides to route this part of the mountain. Now, this is where the decisions start to come in of Laser Bridge and and Spiral and Hera. All the good decisions.
You know you're going to have to fall down the mountain at least a couple of times here, so you kind of pick your poison in the early going.
Yeah, it's a question of, you know, like, we could... From here, we could do Big Chest, we could do Crystal Roller, we could go to Laser Bridge, but we'd be spending one of our keys. And this is a Pendant Turtle Rock. So that's at least the second pendant we now know. And actually, Telethar's at 3 small keys, so there's not really a big worry. Like, he doesn't have to do a full second mountain drop. Another pod small for Kazdan, so we should be seeing the big key chest. Kaze, I don't think you have a big key.
That seems to be a bit of an ongoing problem for Kazdan. He doesn't have the big keys to the dungeons he's going to.
Oh, did Kazdan skip Harmless? Okay, never mind. Thanks, Leo. I figured he skipped one of them. I just missed which one. And yeah, Telethar's going to continue to the front here. He's got the keys to make this kind of routing. Really, really smart here. And these are the little things that show, you know, how well some people have planned for this week. This will save Telethar at least one trip on this Death Mountain descent. Case should be heading up the mountain at this point. He is not. He's going for Ice Palace. Okay.
You fold the flippers, you put it in logic.
Yeah.
Not really a good reason to put it off any longer unless you really wanted to greed for that big key.
Yep, no, this makes a lot of sense too.
And it is one of those crystal dungeons, you know you have to put it on the board eventually, so you're here, it's here, you've got the things to beat it.
Well, that's TR small key number 4. Joy, and that's another Meyer small for us. Now, Kazdan will have to remember to hit the switch here in Ice Palace, because we do not yet have the Ice Big. And this is a Crystal Ice. Gotta say, I love these little strategies I'm seeing from Telethar. I don't think I've seen some of them, and it's interesting to see what he's come up with to save those little bit of extra bits of time.
That's one of the things that makes watching a lot of invitational runners so much fun. You can just... There are all these little optimizations, little differences in the way people handle things, and sometimes you just look at a strat and maybe it's not technically the fastest, but you think, I can make that work compared to whatever the optimal is.
Small key to pod, so there's pod 6, which does put our flippers into logic now. Nice silvers. Don't expect Telethar to miss those. That's definitely on the path and not a skip I would expect somebody to make. But nice 11 out of 12 TR today on our first trip. So Kaizen having cleared out Skull Woods, not a huge deal. We don't need to have beaten Skull, but you know, it allowed him to finish up Eastern and, or at least Saha in one trip. So, nice little check there. But he is into his second crystal, so about to have a crystal lead on Kaizen's side. He does need to get up the mountain. I will say, besides that hook shot, not a lot up here on Death Mountain, though, shockingly. That's a big key to Eastern. Okay.
That is not a great place for that. You're unlikely to pull that before you've pulled the flippers. It's not impossible. You could fake flipper to Ice Palace, theoretically.
Yeah, I mean, if you pull Ice Big, like if you're Talthar here and you pull Ice Big, I think there's a good chance you go and do that Ice Palace first. But given what we've all seen, like, I don't think it's happening. And yes, no Mirror Shield today. Hera is also a crystal. It's looking like Swamp Palace is going to be the answer logically, mind you.
Certainly starting to seem that way. Houston saying, hey, wait, where did all of my half magic go? Let's get the hammer out to finish that fight up.
Nice kill, though. Competing crystals on both sides. Neither runner really pulling anything too consequential out of this. But Kay's getting the Eastern Big Key will send him to another dungeon, probably instead of the mountain at this point. Yep, this is a return. No, it's not. Flipper checks? Shovel check?
Maybe a little both. Now one of those checks that nobody wants to make, the long, slow walk through Spiral Cave.
Yep. No, this is one of the worst checks. Like, you can tell me that it's a, like, good or bad checks and inverted. This is one of the worst checks. Just in the game. Okay, this is flipper checks for Kazden.
Telethar with the flute to 3, with that Skullwood's big burning a hole in his pocket, plus the fire rod, of course. Yeah, we can still go there from the light world. We're gonna swing back down south instead. Small child check first.
Yeah, that would make sense on his end.
And we'll net Telethar the small key to Thieves Town before getting a big key to Thieves Town and having to worry about it.
Gold Big Key is the one piece of info that we did also get on Telthar's side. He does see this as a pendant, but I would be hard-pressed to think he's going to skip this. Skull Big Chest is dead, though.
something that you see a little more often in Inverted, someone walking out of the Zora area.
That's not a fire rod. Although...
Ether is in fact not a fire rod.
Yep.
Confirmed.
Yeah, no big surprise here. Telethar going after the Moth. You're right here. You had some checks to make. You know this is a pendant, but he routed it in at about the right time. Kazin is now going to meet Flute. Is he headed up the mountain? No, he is not. This is east. No.
This is a miss.
This was... Yeah, this is a miss Flute. This has to be eastern. Now, a benefit to Kazin here could be that he gets, if he does Hookshot Cave, like, there's not a lot left for him. Like, he can't do the mountain. So after Hookshot Cave, he could end up in Swamp Palace and skip the mountain, which really did not help Telethar. Like, that is one of his outs right now for time, is, like, save on a lot of mountain stuff and just get to Swamp faster. Big question is, where is Telethar heading? And this is going to be the pod Eastern play as well, so... Or at least pod. Like, you know, you get that green pendant, that is your big indicator, like, get over here and hope that there's something.
And we've seen Kasten dipping this area for quite some time now, and it largely hasn't done much. The flippers or... The Ice Palace Crystal is nice, but yeah. Not yet.
Well, and Telethar into Eastern first. He hasn't even touched pod yet. I'm a little surprised by this play. Like, Mind DM, am I missing something about why Telethar's dipping Eastern first?
I don't have a good answer for you. Maybe he's hoping that since it is faster to bring your Dark World access here through the Light World, maybe you just, while you're still in the Light World, pull your pod key, and then you get to do that in one go and food away? Maybe that's the hope?
It's just, I just don't know, because, like, my thought is that Eastern's always a deep dungeon. Like, it doesn't feel very big, so, like, this might not make sense, but, like, in terms of getting from the front to the boss, it's a very deep dungeon. There's a lot of walking, a lot of movement, a lot of room transitions. Whereas Pod is a very shallow dungeon that fans out, so you can very quickly get from the first check to the last check. So this just feels a little unnatural right now on the route. Nice ice, small.
It is another crystal on the board for Kasten, though.
Yep. A little more info. And, like, this will not hurt Telethar. Let me be completely real here. Like, Telethar not having Eastern big key, it's not a big deal. He's fine. Like, he's not losing out on routing efficiency overall. But, like, if Eastern big was in pod especially, like, that would burn him harder. Is the one thing to keep in mind. See, and I get the mirror transitions thing, Tyler. It's just, like, I'm looking at the time walking through Eastern more so than the mirror transitions. Like, a couple of 3-second mirror transitions doesn't bother me the same. Kazin, you hitting spike? You are not.
He did try and turn to the old man rescue at the very beginning when he fluted to 1, so I'm not surprised by this.
Yeah. So right now we do have a little bit of a trade back and forth. So as we're going through this, just going to remind you to give our... Did I put that in? No, I put it in correctly. I guess the command is not working. Follow our runners, Talithar and Kazed, and that's their screen names, so you don't have to really search too hard to find them. They're good runners. They stream quite a bit. They run quite a bit. They're decent people. I've met Talithar. I clearly would know Kazed pretty well. So yeah, follow them. And there's their links. Yeah, thanks, Tyler and Leo. Kazed heading back up Dark Death Mountain. We'll see if this is Hookshot Cave or if he's going to play for Super Bunny. That's the thing. He's only got 2 checks in Super Bunny right now. Maybe he'll think Spike Cave, although he's trending a little high. Yep. Kazed, please.
Now, if you're rooting for JKLOL here, this may be better than you first assume, that he's going to functionally last locate this hookshot, because otherwise he would still have the checks over here in Super Bunny to pair up with everything else, and he's thinking,
yeah,
oh, East Mountain. But this is maybe just a little more incentive for Kayston to take that hookshot once he gets it and head for Swamp.
Yep. Like, I'm thinking what else he has right now. Like, there's not much. He's got a flute out. Where can we go? I'm hoping it's flute back to 1. It is! Now, Talithar does have an advantage here in Palace of Darkness that we mentioned slightly on Kayston's side. We'll see what Talithar does with this, but the question of info for... ooh, bomb jump coming up. Awesome. I love it. The question of the Harmless Hellway for Talithar. Kayston did not check it, so... But this is a hook shot for Kayston. Swamp Palace next. Harmless Hellway is dead, so that's fine. Kayston's heading back up the mountain, though. Little surprised.
Density, I suppose.
Density is the answer here for Kays, so...
I was beginning to wonder when he started quick swapping around if he'd decided against it.
I mean, how often do we get to see you open the dark maze door in Keys?
Not often.
No. I just realized that's a new one. And we have a Mire map to tell us that Mire is a crystal as well. Is that... That is map info. We know map info here, folks. In terms of what we need for GT mode, we still need a Mire Big and we need a Pod Big. But our last pendant is Thieves Town. In terms of Go, the only two things we're still missing besides what I just mentioned are going to be the GT Big and another sword.
And there are 3 of those swords in the pool. One of them has to show up eventually, right? Or
I mean, one of them is
one.
Yeah, the boots. I'm sure we're getting to the point where our runner's like, I'd appreciate my boots, please. I know Talithar is always a big fan of boots. I'm sure Kazan is also feeling it at this point. We're an hour in. You know, I think you can be like, I can live without boots for a little while. That's fine. That's fine. I don't mind. We're past the point of okay. I'll be curious to see how much Kazan wants to play extra on this mountain. Like, he's got a crystal available to himself right now, like, or he doesn't know it's available as Crystal Swamp, I believe. Don't believe he's done. No, he hasn't done a map check yet. But Kazan now knows that TR is a pendant. So still 3-2 on the crystal front in favor of Kazan, but Telthar about to get his 3rd crystal, as well as having his Eastern Big Key here out of Ice-T. So going to be able to clear a 4th crystal. Kazan, meanwhile, should be getting his Hera crystal momentarily or soon. So 4 crystals apiece in the cards, and then it's a question like, there's Swamp is another crystal we have access to. So 5 are on the table. We can get into Mire as well, but we can't beat it.
Maybe by the time our runners have finished with Swamp Palace, we'll be able to, but not for the moment.
And I think Leo mistyped. I think she meant we're in no mode in regards to our crystal pendants, not necessarily our equipment and item stuff. So soon, hopefully. A little cleaner of a fight there. Kazan finding out Hera is a crystal. And Talthar is going to give us our first look at Swamp Palace. He's going to play for this dungeon instead, hoping to pair Eastern and Pod later. Makes a lot of sense.
Going once again for that efficiency style of play, and we know that going back to Eastern is not going to yield a Pod Big. This might.
Yep. I was going to say, I was really hoping like Telethar went to Eastern just to kind of give a better idea of where they are after those plays. But I can't expect people to listen to what I want. Or what Moldorm.
Kind of like Moldorm.
Yeah.
The runners will do what they want.
Oh, nice big key. Well, I don't know if we're going to skip. My DM, are you skipping left side swamp?
How many are we from go in the grand scheme of things? Couple
Go
big keys and a
4.
sword? And yeah, alright.
4 from go, 3 big keys and a sword.
Oh, that's a tough ask. This is probably a go to the back first kind of scenario, and then decide based on what all comes out of it. Telethar's just gonna do it all in one go, though.
Yep. I love this route for a full clear swamp. Gazen getting his pod small there off a laser bridge. We'll see if this leads him. He's leaving for swamp, so he's going to skip spiral in the front of TR. We know there's nothing on those checks, so good pickup of time for Kazden. These small little skips on his end have kept this like really close. Like I think Telethar's had a slightly more efficient route, and Kazden's just made like this is not to say Kazden hasn't been efficient. There are things I like about Kazden's route, but like Telethar's movement is very smooth and hard to kind of fight, and that's a Meyer big key. That's one of our go mode kit.
Okay, don't skip left side swamp, kids. You heard it here.
I mean, and that's the thing. I don't think K's will skip left side here. As I said, we're 4 from go. That's a lot to skip. But I know, like, it's really hard to say sometimes with Kazden. I race with him frequently in practice, and, you know, there could come a moment he will make this kind of decision to skip. So we'll see what he does on this one. That's another big key this time for... My DM, why?
This time for...
Yeah, that's all I can call it. It's not a big key, it's the... Back of Swamp Palace, though. What do you got for us? The Meyer Big is a great prize. Don't get me wrong. That's our second sword. Nice. A blue cane. Is this going to be a bootsless seed? Where are our boots? Please. Okay, another big key for there's that that U-turn room for Kazden. Will we see left side? He's coming up to the big chest. Please go left. Yay! Scaring me. Why doesn't Kazden do the over-the-top route in the hub arena? Because Kazden worries he'll forget to do something, like the U-turn room.
That's a problem problem that I had when it was kind of first priced in that going over the top was a time save. There were a couple of seeds where I definitely left something important behind in the loop around, and that's not so great.
And there's our pod big. Mind DM, we're in GT mode.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, folks, that's 7 crystals available. The only big key we haven't found for logical GT is the ice big. We have the small keys though to put every dungeon in logic right now. Really big question is, where is GT big and who finds it first? Like, this is a mystery of kind of a result now. Anything could happen. Like, we've got 2 great runners. If Telethar finds it first, I think he's got the advantage at this point. If Kaysen can route into the GT big though beforehand, like, I think this is still open to him as well. And part of this could come down to Meyer skips, because realistically Meyer could have the big key as well, and like, I think there's a world where you go into Meyer and full clear and find it, or skip, like we had a skip of what, cutscene chest, which was a vanilla Meyer big the other night. Like, I don't know who's got this race right now. I will say I think Telethar's probably a little bit ahead though.
The convenience of being able to pair pod Eastern Oak, he's made less trips to that side of the world. It's worked out for him in terms of time.
Yeah, unfortunately, Kaysen will have gone to Eastern Pod, what, 4 times? He went there at the start of the race to Pod only, then he went to Pod Eastern, then he went to Eastern, now he's going to have to go to Pod. So, like, 4 trips to Telethar's 2. Definitely a good time save on Telethar's side.
And Telethar really hit the minimum there, because you had to go 1 time to get the flippers to get your pod pick.
Yep. Another Ice Small off of Armos. Oh wait, that's the first one, never mind. Nice Fire Rod kill there. We saw a Silver's kill on Telethar's side and then a Fire Rod kill from Kaysen, but that's his pod big. So we'll see how Kaysen wants to route this. He could do Meyer here first. And it's going to be pod. So Kaysen is following Telethar here.
And until and unless one of them starts making skips, this will tell us about what our gap is.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, here comes our first, like, decision point of a skip or not is going to be pod big chest. I think Kaze is less likely to skip it, given the fact he hasn't done Harmless Hellway. So this could be an easier check for him to make. Whereas for Telethar, it's just 1 check. He could say, I'm playing for GT here. Nice double bomb to start that fight. And wow, the efficiency on that kill from Telethar, really nicely done. Helma exploding. I'll use Kaizen's timer as kind of a gauge, about 120.01 on the item, 120.05 on the crystal. And Telethar is going to skip out on the big chest here. Telethar setting up for Spooky. Unfortunately, Telethar taking a little bit of damage there on his way to the Mire activation spot, and not going to have sword beams for the front, or for Mire 2. Not that we have a boots to make Mire 2 smooth either.
The game not cooperating with Mire 2, apparently.
And about a minute difference here. 55 seconds or so between their two runners at this moment. And Kaizen is also skipping Big Chest and Harmless, so gonna keep about a 55-second difference here into Misery Mire. Spike Chest, not the answer. So we'll see how Kaizen wants to route this. Telethar is rushing Vidi. Did Spike, he'll probably do Bridge, and that's it. I don't see any other checks coming for Telethar here, given this route.
It is a big ask to come back into this dungeon.
Yeah. No, this is...
And there's a small key to no thank you.
Yep, another one of those small keys we don't want to see. You know, we talked about that Thief Small earlier. It is absolutely worthless when we think about it. And that is an alternate Spooky setup, by the way. Telethar doing the Silver Arrow version of that setup. And it looks like Kaizen is also just going to rush GT here.
Rare
Interesting strategy.
Moments in Key Sanity where you can say the old saw of, well, it could come down to GT routing. Well, it could, assuming that the GT big key is in there.
Yeah, nice Spooky preservation with that silver. You can also do it with an ice rod, and I think you can do it with a couple of other items if you don't have boots. Yeah, fire rod's a little harder because of how quickly the shot moves. Ice rod's the easier one, as well as silvers. And it's not on Vidi, so... So Kaizen also going for his Spooky. Kaizen, you don't need to hit this first spike. Very nicely done. So both of our runners showing off some alternate Spooky methods. But Kaizen also going to just hit that switch like normal. Yeah, I mean, we don't really play the GT Big Key guessing game, but I guess, mind DM, there's 22 locations in GT. We're going to get to see Pyramid Fairy. Where's GT Big? Is it 1 to 22, or is it the mythical 23 outside of GT?
The way this seed has been playing out, I think I'm going to have to call the 23 here.
Okay.
I think it's going to be behind one of those Hera keys. It's trying to go back to its ancestral home.
Pyramid Fairy, though, first up. $20 and a big key, too. Ice. Oh, no. The fake out.
The pain is real. You can feel it.
But yeah, we'll check in on the time difference again as Kaze is heading up to here. Cutscene for Telethar at 1:25:30. Thank you for the round numbers, Telethar. Telethar going with the left side play. I don't know if this is a DM or a full left. Big key 2 GT there in chest number 2. That's go mode for Telethar. Gonna look for a sword or boots, and there's the boots!
There are a few things left that you might want, and so you fish for them in the other 2 checks in the room, and sometimes you get paid out for it.
Yep. So Kaze is a little more than a minute behind here. Going up these stairs, 1:25:30 again was Telethar's entry time. Kaze gonna hit about 1:26:41, so a minute 11 behind entering GT. Telethar needing to get some silver arrows there. Kaze likely does hope here first. Yep, Kaze is gonna at least do hope, and I anticipate he'll go to compass room. So gonna lose some time.
Right in key sanity, it makes a lot of sense.
Yep. Now, a sword here could help Kazden. I don't think it's enough. Like, I think at this point, it's, you know, this is Telethar's race to lose. He's got the advantage. Only gaining time by Kazden doing right side, so... But there's a sword in Compass Room! We know that there are no other swords on GT either at this point. The last sword is on the library, so no sword coming for Telethar if he checks at the top of GT. Now, will Kazden remember to look for the boots is the bigger question. There's the GT big key for Kazden, and he does not pick up the boots. Oh no. Don't blame him, he got the sword he wanted.
I think if he was really going to close this up, he was going to need both, and unfortunately only pulling the one.
Yeah. His climb can be a little bit cleaner in some regards, but the lack of boots just does make some rooms harder. But yeah, Telethar looking up here for a potential sword. We know he will not find one. Yeah, no surprise. Telethar going to take every chance he can to find a sword. Just is not coming this time, unfortunately. Kazin making his way through Gauntlet in G4 right now, as Telethar is about to walk into Aga 2. I will say, Kazin making good work of the Gauntlet bootsless. Good start to the Aga 2 fight. I think that was only a double, though. I think that second shot was simultaneous. That should be shot number 3. 4 and 5, yep. So that was a double only and not a full triple on cycle 1. And cleans it up there with a single. So there we go. Down goes Aga 2 for Telethar. Kazin just past Wizrobes 1. Little bit of a miss menu there from Kaze on Wizrobes 2. Cleans up on the second cycle, not too bad. But Telethar is going to be dropping in on the peg. Good use of Burna there without his the boots. Telethar dropping in. He's got Samaria, so he is practiced on this strat and feels comfortable with it. And we've got red mail silvers, so if we were without silvers, I think Kazin could make up more time, would be able to make up more time. But unfortunately, the silvers also gives Telethar some wiggle room on this fight. Here we go. I think we're into phase 2. Yup, and Samaria strats again for Telethar.
Making it look easy.
Yep. The man is practiced on that strat and really did a good job on that first one. Going to have an easy cleanup here in a second cycle. Kaze, you want to be on that hook shot? Thank you. Very nice on the Moldorm kill. But yeah, Telethar into phase 3. And then, of course, my least favorite version of Ganon, besides the fact that Master Sword Silverless is slow, Master Sword Silvers is physically impossible. I don't know why, it's just an annoying fight.
You just get into the rhythm, and that's the way it goes.
Yep. There is the first silver for Telethar. Very nice.
Then he gets a silverless hit, because of course he does.
Of course. There's silver number 2. Ganon only giving him corners, but he's going for the bottom here. Oh, just missed it. But get your GGs in chat. Silver number 4 for Telethar. Just needs to cross the bridge. And right as Kazin takes down Aga 2 on his end, Telethar crosses the bridge, getting first place today with a 1:33.04 to keep the undefeated start going for Usedbow. And yeah, great race. Both runners really hitting amazing routes through this one. You know, nobody missing that thing that was going to really screw them. I think, like, the big thing for this one, if I had to pinpoint something, is I think if Kazin had gone and took his hook shot from Spike into Swamp, I think the end result of this race is different. But the allure of the mountain was too strong there, understandably. So but Kazin into phase 2. Gonna just have an easy time here with his tempered and cape and half magic. He's got no worries. So we'll just let Kazin finish up the fight, and then we'll get to the interviews. We do have Telethar here, but just want to finish this up since it's so close on the overall finishes.
Yep.
No. Quick phase 3 here, nice and easy. 2 silvers to start. Good hit of the torch glitch for silvers 3 and 4 on the up pattern there. So nice phase 4 for Kazin. Gonna be about a minute and a half behind Telethar on this one, a little more than that. But get your GGs in chat for Kazin as he finishes on his end with a official time of 1:34.47. So a minute 43 difference, really a close one on this race. But yeah, as I said, we've got Telethar in with us already. GG.
Thank you. Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed walking.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
fine.
you're the only one who found the boots, so.
Yeah, for sure.
Kazan got Tempered Sword out of Compass Room, so when he found the boots, or found that GT Big Key, he bailed and just started climbing.
Gotcha.
But we are also now joined by Kazan. GG.
Oh, GG.
No GG's.
The terrible seed.
Yeah, it's not great.
Like, the seed itself was fine, just give me boots.
Yeah, you
A
know.
lot of walking.
Well, some people don't like boots, so what are you gonna do?
Spend a lot of time walking to the pod eastern area if you're Kayston.
Yeah, apparently.
See, my secret was I just hard last located my flippers in pod.
Gotcha.
Which, like, I don't know if it was really that bad, but it was definitely
I don't think it's
doesn't
that
feel
bad. It's
great.
like Flippers basically just ended up sending me to ice, which I almost did before pod anyway. But like, I didn't know what the prize was, I don't think, at the time. So it's like, I have the 4 keys. Like, this is a reasonable dip. I never got to the back at the start, so we'll do this first.
Yeah, basically after pod, I did ice, then I did swamp, and then I had probably go mode, or it was like 50-50 go mode, so I beat Eastern. Or not go mode, GT mode. Beat Eastern, beat pod, beat Meyer. I knew everything but Eastern and Thieves at that point.
Yeah, I had the Meyer map, so after I beat Swamp, I checked. It's like, oh, that's a crystal. Yep, we're just gonna rush GT and cross our fingers, because
Yeah.
I figure I had to have a chance. So.
Oh yeah, when I read Pedant, so I was a compass and said, well, logic is corrupt in the seed. You can't use it for anything. So.
Well, yeah, I derped there, and for some reason I went to Skull Woods through the Dark World, and about halfway through I'm like, this is stupid. I should have been going through the Light World. Now I can't check Ped either. It was like, oh well, I hope it's nothing, because I'm never going back.
Yeah.
Not to mention just the time waste of walking through Skull, but I was already halfway through it by the time I realized I was being dumb.
Yeah, I mean, looking from our angle, I think, Telthar, you probably had a few extra checks over Kays, and I know you full cleared Mountain. Kays made a few skips there, but besides that, most of the same stuff. I think really what burned Kays in today was probably the 4 trips in the Eastern Pod area, Tier 2.
Yeah, part of that for me was just I made a decision to kind of hard play against the mountain until I got access. Like, I did not want to go up there, and then when I eventually found that hook shot, I was like, oh, okay, this is not good.
Well, and that became the other question mark. For Kays, really, this is the only one who could have made this choices. Was there a thought to go to Swamp first, right after you got Hook? Because you had your Swamp Small and your Flippers at that moment.
There was, like, the problem is for me knowing how early that hook was available, and I think even in Logic, I don't remember where the cape was, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty available early. Like,
I think
there
it
could
was
have
Backward
easily
Escape.
just. Yeah, that sounds
It was
right.
Light World.
Yeah. I was just a little bit worried, like, I can't skip the entirety of TR that's been available forever. Like, there's so much, so I just pick and choose which checks I was going to do, and I didn't want to do a full clear. I just wanted to hit some of the density and try and make the most of my time before heading to Swamp. But there definitely was a thought of, like, oh, we have a hook shot, let's just go to Swamp, but it just didn't feel right, so. I think at the time I didn't know Swamp was a crystal either. So it's like, I know there's a crystal on the mountain, so let's get that first.
By the way, Kays, I'm guessing you heard about your boots.
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
That's funny.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I got that big key. I was like, okay, bye.
You got a sword. That's plenty.
I have a tempered sword. I have silvers.
Yep.
Boots could be anywhere. I have enough skips out there. Like I had most of a good chunk of TR left. Like there was so many places they could have been. I wasn't gonna fish for it.
Yeah, I did. I had 5 checks left in Meyer, and
Same.
Pod Big and Ice Big, and I guess Hair Big.
Yeah, I had Pod Big, Harmless Elway, Ice Big, 6 checks in TR, Swamp or Skullwoods Big, Hera Big, yeah, Hera Basement.
Yeah, and you guys both played Meyer equally aggressive with that, just doing Spike and Bridge before Vidi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like you kind of have to.
Yeah, it's VT branch. You have to.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if those 3 Meyer Smalls might have pulled into some extra checks, but good play on both sides to skip out on it, and there was nothing there at least, so.
Yeah, no, like I said, the moment you get a map/compass on PED, you just throw all logic out the window.
But yeah, great race to start this set of matches between the 2 teams today.
And game 2 is coming up on Friday, if I'm not entirely mistaken. And Jesse, you're running in that race.
Yeah, tomorrow that's going to be Structural Mike and I at 2 p.m. Eastern time, so.
A time that I cannot possibly commentate it. Good job.
You know, the fun of scheduling between an American and a European. Everybody loves it.
It will be JKLOL's second chance this week to take the first game off of Usedbow this season. Telethar, I have to say, your team has been performing very strongly through the first 3.5 weeks here.
Yeah, it's hard to complain about the record so far.
Yeah, midpoint of the season, so.
I think Mike said that halfway through Duality Week, we were the only team that hadn't taken a loss yet. So.
I'm still pretending that Joy of Rando hasn't taken a loss, even though Shinmaru totally took one. But no, other than that, yeah, it's you guys and you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how long it lasts. Yeah, a lot of strong opponents out there, so I will not be surprised when one of them catches us. But
yeah, I was gonna say, just looking at your start so far, you guys already faced off with Tile Roomies and Sphere Funity. So, but I do see, you know, besides the second game here, you got Potence in Cross Keys Week, Aga's Backup Dancers indoors, and the Pugs as your cross divisional in Randomizer to close out the season. So, not a guaranteed road at the end of the season.
nah, I mean it's invitational, so
yep,
that's what we're here for.
Speaking of being here for things, here in about 15 minutes on this very channel, in point of fact, we're going to have another Invitational League match for you. Same mode, different players, different commentators, different tracker, but we have You Look Like You Could Use a Hook and Lamp versus 2 Pearl 2 Furious. It's TJ Maelstrom and Trinex. Going to be facing off in another one of these Influkies games with Arya Stark and Homemade Beer on the call and Darak Sharna pushing the buttons to make sure that the tracker lights up for everybody out there in Chatland. So, if you enjoyed this one and you need a little more rando in your life this evening, we're going to bring some more to you.
Yeah, and just taking a look at our schedule for the rest of tonight, we do have one other race on the schedule. Midnight Eastern time, we're going to have Don't Forget to Track Us and Risky and Terrible Gambits, PRD Wong versus BDI. That'll be on SpeedGaming 2 tonight, once again at midnight Eastern. Tomorrow, in terms of channels for races, we don't have all that set up, but to point out what we've got, 8 a.m., Secretly a Sliver and FaZe, Dead Rock You Like a Burnicane versus Motabashin, that'll be 8 a.m. Eastern. As earlier mentioned, we got that Structural Mike versus Me race. 2 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Eastern. Also, Dead Rocky like a Bird and a Cane versus Motabashin. Sawyer versus Faker Jr. 4 o'clock Eastern, Raylan Tankier versus Rotsiv. GFE versus Plasma Kappa at 9 p.m. Eastern, as well as Jejo versus Awase at 9 p.m. Eastern. So a lot of invitational races tomorrow. And if I take a look at the Open League, let's see. Oh, rest of Open League for tonight. We've got a 10 p.m. race actually going to be on Speed Gaming as currently scheduled. Rayzeus versus Hawk. So the Tormentees versus Smells Like Troll Seed. That'll be right here on Speed Gaming at 10 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to keep watching Rando, you can just stay on Speed Gaming and keep seeing stuff. We do need some volunteers for that 10 p.m. race, though. So feel free to sign up. Tomorrow, lighter schedule on the open side. We've got 6:30 p.m. Aurora Snurd versus Talon. 9 p.m. Eastern Pool Float versus Raids. And that's it. Like really light open league schedule tomorrow. So more invitational matches than anything. But what I will say is, let's see if the links are working now. If I can actually, I typed it. I don't think it has to be. It's case sensitive.
I don't
if
think
it
it's
is,
case sensitive. Come on, cooperate, links. Let's go.
It didn't work, so I'll just say, follow our runners. Telethar and Kazin put on a great race today. This was amazingly close. You don't always get a lot of these minute or sub 2 minute difference races, and you know both of them really put on a great show for us. And then of course, shout outs to Leoria for doing the tracking. While we do have auto tracking now, it's always good to have somebody manually clicking the buttons for us and doing all that stuff. So much appreciated. And Mayan DM, thank you for stepping in today.
Yeah, it was fun. I saw a couple of matches on the schedule, and I thought, you know what, I'll just throw my name in the hat for both of them. And then Will signed up for the other game in question, so I got to continue dodging Fear Agent. It's been 4+ years at this point. Sooner or later, that's going to end as a streak, but it kind of amusing. But instead, it meant that I got to spend a nice hour and 40-ish minutes hanging out with a buddy of mine, calling a little rando on a Thursday evening. I had fun.
Yeah, me too. Maybe I would have liked the turnout or the end result be a little different, but it's okay.
That is the way rando goes, and we are down to a little over 10 minutes to the next game, so we'll go ahead and close up shop here. You all out there in Chatland can stay right where you're at. I suspect that the channel, if it goes off at all, will come right back on very shortly, and we'll start getting set up for the next race of the night.
Yep. Have a good night, everybody.